the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. So going with the basic stuff that I see here, um, you tended to have this belief in like you want honesty, like you come from a family where integrity is important,
Yes.
right? Although there can be some issues with wounding behind all that, especially with like mm, being kind of like kind of, I guess you could say of service, or kind of like when it comes to helping out in the family, being of service, kind of being part of the family, there was a bit of that. You can say that it was in a way imposed, like the values of honesty, integrity. That's what I'm
Yeah.
seeing here. Mhm. Um, More or less that way. Um, so there's a lot of pride involved, pride going on
Hmm.
in the family circle, a lot of it, a lot of it.
In
But
mine, you're
honesty is
talking about
part
in
of that.
mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so what happens is that you tend to, I'm going to look at my Synastry cheat sheet. I actually created another cheat sheet for myself. Um, so let's see here. Okay, so it when it comes to your sense of beliefs about yourself, like I would say your core beliefs, part of your
Hmm.
core beliefs in your psyche and your upbringing, um, your sense of what the way you want things to be, or your home environment has to be exactly that, like honesty, integrity, um,
Yeah.
pretty much revolves around that. But with that comes, I guess you can say, a price, so to speak. Like it's sometimes some people don't want full honesty, even though you do, or at least you were brought up to be that way. Um, so in a relationship, you seek that. You want that honest communication, right? It's a Leo thing as well. You want it to be just straightforward, just exactly as it is. Very also
Yes.
childlike behavior, not childish, but well, maybe. Um, but childlike meaning like you want to speak from the heart. Everything has to come from the heart. Everything has to be inspired from the heart, like that sort of eternal flame that wants to just live and live and live,
Yes. Like
right?
that too.
Hmm. Um, and so what that means for you is like but what happens is that you embody this sort of stability in yourself that is very much like you want consistency. You want there to be, especially when it comes to partners, you want it to be consistency. You don't like, you never really like growing up, you never kind of, because you had to get the approval of your parents for survival to, so you didn't, but you didn't actually approve of their being controlling and, dominating. So you wanted it to be simple. So that in turn kind of, that your own relationship becomes that way. Now, when it comes to Tim, let me
Just
see here.
yes.
See here. Where's his descendant? Descendant. Okay, here we go. His um his was about growing up in a family where he didn't like the aloofness of people and didn't like too much of that spirituality in a certain way. Maybe he grew up very in a religious family, so he
Yes, he
didn't
did.
want that. He wanted to be like fact-based, simple,
Yeah.
but also very technical and straight to the point and honest. And so that's where you kind of both agree on things. Um, let's see here. But what happens is that his tendency to be that way, what he embodies, what he kind of wants, he wants that Virgo ascendant. Um, he wants it to be like
Structure.
calculative and, specific and all that stuff. And that's
Yes.
how he kind of portrays himself to the world. So when he met you, he actually met you through his ascendant. You probably got attracted to his little technicality, maybe because his quirkiness, his pedantic. Sometimes he's pedantic, sometimes he's too anal, sometimes he's too,
Hmm.
maybe he talks a lot. So maybe you got drawn to that because you also have, here you have Makemake conjunct your Mars, your home in your own chart. His ascendant affects it. So what that meant is like you got drawn to his chatteriness, right? He was
Hmm.
very kind of like, okay, he probably knows a lot. He comes off as this like, oh, very intellectual, maybe smart, you know. So that kind of attracted you to him. It actually kind of turned you on, right? So,
Hmm.
um, on the other hand, what happens is that you sometimes may get all these different things like, um, when it comes to your need to, or just this basic, not basic need to, maybe when you have to, when you feel this strong instinctive um, push to just say what you need to say, and or rather, you have all these ideas specifically through your body. Like it's just like you just know what's going on, you instinctively know, but he doesn't get it.
Hmm.
He kind of analyzes it. So it
Yes.
kind of pushes him
100%.
to the kind of like, I don't know what to do about that.
Defense. Yes, it's
No,
very annoying.
yeah. So I can see why you're this is one of your, you said, your issues. Um, it's also a past life thing. You are carrying forth your past life, and it kind of is to him kind of like, well, she knows things that I don't know. So it kind of maybe in a way sort of intimidates him to a certain degree,
Hmm.
maybe. Let's see where his sun and moon are. We're gonna go with the basic sun moon. Okay. Ah, he has sun moon conjunction Cancer. Okay. So, I see it. Your wounding with your family, when it comes up, it actually affects him,
I don't know
and
what that means.
it actually affects, sorry. When I say wounding, I mean like the issues you've had with family since security, protection, nurturing, basic needs, emotions. It kind of
Hmm.
comes up like, because for you, it's you naturally heal that way. You have a strong, intense personality when it comes
Hmm.
to, like, especially with healing. You want to heal through your emotions. You know how to do that
Hmm.
naturally, actually. Um, usually by communicating, by
Hmm.
learning about yourself. That's how you heal. And that becomes
Hmm.
your medicine as well. But when that
Hmm.
comes up, what happens is for him, it might kind of intensify his emotions and his pride and
Hmm.
sense of vitality. It kind of
Yeah, you're
adds to
spot
that.
on. You're
Yeah,
very spot on.
yeah. Um, yeah, so he's actually whatever he's feeling, whatever his personality is, actually you learned through that as well. He brings that in your sense of like self, like your, like, how do you call this? When it comes to like say, maybe he also projects onto you things that you never thought you had, like skills you had. You're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Okay. Because you do have that Leo, you want to be out there, right? He's Cancer, he wants to be in. So when he
Right.
brings you in, it's almost like
Hmm.
it's mysterious. What? It's like, I don't know what's going on. And it feels like this sort of like uncertainty. But for him,
Hmm.
it's like a comfort zone. It makes him feel alive. It makes him feel like he wants security. So how that can work is that when you guys work on together on your sense of, what security is, like what your sense of security is, it's usually financial. For him, his sense of
Hmm.
security is through connecting with people. It's in his love. Yeah,
Oh.
it's in his love. So he needs to connect. So if you have to find a way to bridge that, or for you, it's more about talking, But maybe for him, it's more about just connecting. He doesn't need to necessarily be about talking.
Yeah, he's not good at talking. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So, yeah. And but when he does kind of express himself, he has an insecurity about how he expresses
Mm-hmm.
himself. He doesn't know
Mm-hmm.
how to, especially as part of his career path, his ego, his ego, his
Mm-hmm.
reputation. He's had issues with talking to people in the public. And so what
Mm-hmm.
happens is when it comes to you, he actually kind of triggers that in your sense of self-worth. And you have this sort of like you can't sort of sometimes you want to just say out what needs to be said and you know how to connect the dots logically. But for him it's almost like I don't know how to do that, right?
Yeah, you're spot
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It's like kind of creepy.
So sorry. This
No,
is
no,
actually
you're
fun
fine.
right now. Sorry. Sorry. Um,
You're fine.
okay. What else is there? Let's see what else I can find here with
Can I ask you a question?
yeah, good. Yeah.
You know that little circle with the K in Cancer?
What
The
about
K
his
with the
cancer?
circle? That
Oh, which one?
right there. Right, no, the blue one, the blue thing,
This one right here?
the one above it, the K0.
Oh, that's
Yes.
Chiron. Yeah.
Isn't that like karma or something?
It can be a little bit. Yeah.
And I think this is for me, right? Because I
Yeah.
thought I saw this in my chart, and it was like the chart of siblings or family relation, and I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the hell that meant. Like,
Yeah.
does that mean I have issues with the family or something?
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily issues, but that's where a lot of your sense of where you feel like you lost things, where you have, yeah, it's like your sense of like self, your basic needs, emotions. Um, I wouldn't say loss of emotions, but it's more like your
Mm,
sense of connectedness to intimacy,
mm-hmm.
like deep intimacy, like actual meaningful, secure, foundational,
Mm-hmm.
like I've got my set things said, I'm ready, for you, it's like that. But particularly with communication or learning, when you
Yeah.
were in elementary school, this was an issue as well. You couldn't really connect with students, the other students, I would say.
Mm,
Yeah. So, um, but at the same time, you also feel like there's a part of that you cannot connect with your own emotions. Like this is actually where your
mm-hmm.
skills, this is where your taken for granted skills are. If you tap into more of your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
not just like what you feel are emotions, but like deeper than that, like your inner self, when you do the
I'm
meditational stuff, like,
trying. I'm
yeah, it's
trying.
okay. Yeah, it's okay.
I know
Don't
there's
push it
something.
though.
No, but the thing is, I know there's something wrong with me but I don't know what it is. I know something. I feel like something happened, and I can't. I just feel like I have issues stemming from, and nothing
Mhm.
particular happened. I just, yeah, I
Well, let's take a
get
look.
that.
If there's anything connected to Chiron, we can jump into other things too, no problem.
What's
Um,
Chiron?
that's the planet. It's actually
Oh,
yeah, it's the planet. Oh, okay. Issues with memory, remembering things in high school. You had to work hard. You really had to work hard in elementary school. It's almost like you had to kind of like didn't know what to say to your classmates or your teachers.
I was wicked shy.
Mm,
I didn't
okay.
talk. I
Yeah.
they didn't think I knew how to talk. I
Yeah.
could talk very
So
well.
so so it was kind of like it was a lot of trial for you. It felt like it was like well, everybody was like talking to each other, relating with each other, making friends with each other. You were just like,
Hmm.
You were sensing everything from your body, your emotions, everything was like, you don't get it, right? And because your moon is in Leo, to you, it felt like you wanted to be inspired. You wanted to connect with them, but because you didn't know how to express things. Um, but you did have the potential for, well, I would say memory here. But the thing is, I saw earlier right here, um, you have issues, you typically have issues that stem back from those years that were, that in your dreams, when you go through subconscious, you probably have
Hmm.
dreams about your wounds like that when it comes to communication and relating at an emotional level. And you get all these dreams about someone coaching you or you telling people what to do or they telling you what to do. It could be either. There's some sort of like something happening in your dreams that is like the resistance to, there's something you're resisting in your subconscious that's like, I'll tell you what to do or don't tell me what to do. Maybe you're getting dreams where people are um questioning your freedom. They might be like either closing in on you or they're taking away freedom from you. Whatever that symbolism is in the dreams, it could come in different ways, typically through some sort of like telling, controlling, or maybe
Hmm.
there's a dream you've had where you wanted to escape and you just kind of like destroyed everything. I don't know if you've had destructive dreams like that.
No.
Okay. No, no, no. It's not necessarily destructive. Maybe have you had
My
dreams
dreams,
about, sorry, go
they're
ahead.
all
Mhm.
about, because I have a dream dictionary where I track every dream I have,
Oh,
and
nice.
they're all about fear of losing loved ones or trying to protect family members from harm, or
That's
that's what they're
Chiron.
all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Chiron right there. Yeah. Hmm. Like you wanting to take control, you're probably leading things in the dream, right? You're like, okay. Do you ever have dreams about you trying to be the hero, but it ends up being like,
No, they don't get that far. It's kind of like they just,
okay,
it's weird.
that's fine.
I
Yeah,
wake
that's
up
okay.
before.
Oh, that's probably, yeah. If you wake up before that means it hurts, or you just get woken up.
God,
Okay. There is another I don't know what this asteroid means. I wish I
that's
did the
fine.
research. There's so many more I'm working on. We'll go back to that stuff. If there's anything else here. Looking at your
Is
12th
it,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, does anything like jump out at you that you were like, oh, weird? Like, I don't know.
Oh, right now it did. Your 12th house and your 6th house, they're called intercepted. And what that means is that there was a certain sort of restriction or block or sort of hindrance when it comes to general health, workplace, whenever you volunteer for things, whenever you do something like out of service, your sense of spirituality, there's a block there. It feels like there's a block, but it means that it doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that throughout your life, most of your life, you've had this block of like, doing you can't have this, and you actually it gets kind of frustrating because it's like you have the cusp of your 12th house in Pisces, which is basically ruling that house right now, meaning it's what that means is you're supposed to have this. It's almost like you are supposed to have this spirituality, but you're like, why can I not access that? Right. So
Hmm.
yeah, but actually you do already access it. I would say it's hidden. It's actually in your unconscious, even more in your unconscious, in your subconscious. It actually is there. That's why you do dream stuff, because your
Hmm.
dreams are going to help you understand those things. You actually get quite technical
Hmm.
with your dreams. So that's why you're doing dream stuff, dreamscapes, dream work, dream analysis, any of the
Hmm.
Freudian stuff, if you ever done that, right? Yeah, Perdix here is very technical. There's a lot of technicality. Um, so you might also have issues about being technical in dreams. Like, do you find that you're trying to analyze it when you're in your dreams? Do you feel like you're kind of you're trying to really nitpick at it? Like you're well, not nitpick, you're trying to break it down. It's like becomes sort of, is there a procedure? Is there something that happens in your dreams? I'm asking
Yeah,
because
like
I could
scary
look it up.
things,
Sorry.
like bad things, like scary things. But
Okay.
they're not nightmares where I freak out. They're just, yeah, weird visions that freak me out. Like, sorry, I
There's
know that
some
sounds weird.
there's also a sense of abandonment in the dreams, right? Like some not abandonment, but like maybe well, the story of Perdix is about something about his uncle. One second here. Mm, okay. So you feel like you're always there's a lot of like you feel like you're tested in the dreams, right?
Hmm.
What else is there? Do you have do you fall off cliffs in the dreams?
No,
Have you had those?
no.
Falling off? Any fear of heights, like sort of hmm,
Well, yeah, I'm scared of heights, but I haven't had those dreams.
okay, that's fine. I'll look into Perdix again because that's what I remember. About let me see here.
Like,
Ah, abandonment. Yeah, yeah,
what?
yeah. With the abandonment, were you is there part of the dreams? I feel like there's a part of the dreams that you lose your sense of freedom. So it's almost like in the dreams, some of it feels like your freedom is taken away,
I feel like that in
and
real life.
yeah, and it's probably taken away by someone who represents someone who's close to you.
Yeah, not gonna lie, 90% of my dreams are about my ex-boyfriend.
Hmm. Okay. Is
It's weird. It's very weird.
that recent or is that
10 years ago.
okay?
That's why it's weird.
It's okay. Yeah, a lot of you go through a lot of like what is that? 8 degrees. Oh, a lot. Yeah, okay. There's restrictions in your dreams. I see here. Vertex square, Saturn, Neptune. So sometimes you can't tell whether the dreams are real or not, right? You have issues with sometimes it feels vivid, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like real life scenario. Like in a dream, it's like it's real life.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So your dreams do come out real. Okay. Um, let's see. Hmm, let's I missed something.
What?
Just wondering, do you ever have dreams about any sort of like, hmm, I feel like it's because it's the Saturn conjunction Neptune, but Neptune, both of them were retrograde. So it's almost like it's so weird that it's kind of um let's see here. Mm, let me double check my cheat sheet. I don't want to miss anything if I'm missing it. What sign is it in? It's in Capricorn. Okay, it's right there. Oops. You might feel like in the dreams, like there's a lot of there's not even any boundaries to it. It's almost like it's like a free for all kind of flow. It's almost like you're going, do you jump from one reality to the other sometimes in dreams?
Oh no.
Is it? Okay. You're not sure. That's okay. When you record your dreams, like you dream, like do you record them like audio after you wake up, or do you write them down, or what?
As soon as I wake up, I put them in a dream app where I write everything as detailed as possible, and it actually analyzes it for me and spits out
Oh,
themes and um,
okay.
gives
Okay.
me, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with Saturn here. Even though it is in retrograde, I feel like even though there's no limit, a lot of it feels like karma. Yeah, you probably feel a
Mm.
lot of the karmic stuff in there. So it's probably, let's see if it's tied to your past life.
Because you know what I struggle with?
Yeah.
I'm a Leo, right? And you're supposed to be very outspoken and like have leadership abilities and stuff like that. I'm very like that, but I'm comfortable. But in situations like at work and stuff, I'm very reserved and I don't speak my mind, or I'm
Yeah.
the opposite, kind of. It's weird.
Yeah. This
And I've
is,
struggled with that my whole life.
yeah, I can see why. Because your core beliefs are basically ruled by your moon. So your emotions are still important to you. That's because you
Hmm.
grew up in a family in general that wanted to that kind of saw you as this very like the quiet, shy person who's just emotionally reserved. And that became kind of like your role, right? Um, but in truth, those emotions stem a lot from like your moon, your desire to be in the moment, your desire to shine with your emotions, your desire to actually connect at an energetic, physical, emotional, mental, possibly mental, but also mentally, yeah, level with someone who's also just as vivacious, cheerful, full of energy, childlike, enjoys life and actually likes to be creative all the time. But your family probably didn't have that. They,
They didn't want us
yeah,
to really show emotion.
yeah. There was a suppression of emotion. Yeah, I can see there. In fact, your Tim actually kind of somehow brings that out in a way. He um he probably wasn't, I would say he didn't also get that opportunity as well. He was also questioning his own like sense of power. He didn't know how to
Hmm.
live life. So what happens is it projects onto you, just like he becomes your mirror and you're like, why does this feel familiar? Like you're
Yeah.
like feeling like, my goodness, I feel powerless when you're powerless. Why? What? Like it just kind of like it's so well, it affects you, to be honest, it affects your digestive system partially. I would say it kind of has that effect on you, either your digestive system or your libido.
Mm.
Hmm, okay. So yeah. I mean, you did have that spark in the beginning, but it was all up here. But when it comes to sexual things, it's almost like because he triggers that in you, especially with older relationships, they did they did actually trigger that as well. They weren't sure about
In other
themselves.
ones.
Yeah, yeah, they weren't sure about themselves. They're kind of insecure. They didn't know how to shine. They're very like reserved. Very, but at the same time, there's that because they're reserved. They feel like it feels like they were just controlling because of that. Because they
Hmm.
instead of having that energy for themselves, they suck it out of others because they don't have it in themselves. They believe it's not there. So what happens? No, not just believe here, but believe here as well. So they suck that up, and you're just like, oh. So it makes sense, right? I see here core ixion conjunction, but both in retrograde, showing that your relationships before at least before, were tended to be like that. Um,
Hmm.
but and it kind of actually affects you, challenges your path forward. It actually kind of blocks you from fulfilling the strong need to be alive, the strong need to really, because you know how to communicate. Your past life stuff is you know how to communicate, you know how to work with that stuff. Um, I would say, have you tried reliving that same sort of like thing with your husband, with your Tim, to kind of just do things that you like together that are related to anything like puzzles, games, anything to do with talking, doesn't matter how it happens, just
No, he's very negative.
mm,
He's very negative. It's very
mhm.
well, honestly, when I met him, he was divorced with two kids and stuff. We never really did stuff like that in the beginning anyway. Like it was always kind of like home life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. When he gets
Which is very
angry,
opposite.
yeah, when he
Yes.
gets angry, you feel like your sense of security gets really affected. It's like it's almost like
Hmm.
so do you guys talk when you argue? It's a lot of argument.
Um,
Not really, but it's
he
verbal.
he says very mean things to take digs, which
Mm.
affects me
Hmm.
emotionally,
Yeah,
and I don't do that. And then when I try to talk emotionally, he kind of doesn't want to talk. Like it's kind of like
he shuts
so
down.
it doesn't. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to work with his communication. Like if he has issues with that still, let's see here. Oh, he has a hard time. He has a lot of challenges regenerating. He analyzes his thoughts so much that he needs time to back off and regenerate, literally
Yeah.
like heal from it. So, because you have the fiery tongue in you, have you tried just
I,
kind of fight? Yeah, it
I
needs
don't,
to. We need.
I don't, I don't say anything bad.
No, it's not necessarily bad, but you have to find what Teal Swan says as the third option. Instead of meeting halfway, compromise is sacrifice. It doesn't work. Find the third option. So how does he communicate and how do you communicate are two different things, right? In fact, there is a way to go about it. If you work at it, you both have his Mercury is sextile to your Mercury. Is it sextile? Let me double check here. Yeah, that means you work at it.
Which is communication, right?
Yes, you have to
Mercury.
work at it. You have to work at it. When you put effort into it, it will flow.
I'm trying.
But okay, so how do you try? Can I ask? You mind if I ask, like, what do you mean by
Well,
try?
we've gone to therapy, and I've been
Mhm.
doing a lot of I feel instead of not you, you,
Yes.
you. Because when I
Yeah.
do you, 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 it's defensive
That's
automatically.
projection. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it was great for a while. Like it does work. It's just we get into more arguments about like I'm very disorganized. He's very anal, so we're opposite, and that's what causes majority of the arguments.
Hmm. That's his ascendant right there. He triggers the anger in you. That's what it is. Okay, right there. His ascendant Virgo is making you feel like you just want to be, when you move, you want it to flow. You want it to be not just flow, but you want it to be that's where your ADHD also comes through when you act, when you move,
Hmm.
when you do things like
Hmm.
right? And he triggers him. So
Yep.
he needs to find there's a trick to this. You both have this Virgo energy there when it comes to that. So what does Virgo do? You have to look at the energy of not the label of Virgo, what the energy is. What does it mean? It's all about being why is it all about? why is there this desire to be pure? Because that's what it is. Virgo is about purity. Why do we want to be pure? Where does that come from?
in regards to like
Anything in general.
cleaning and stuff.
Sure. Like he probably his sense of like that's his general thing. He wants it to be perfect and clean and absolute.
Yeah, it's
For
annoying.
you, yeah, for you, it only comes through when it's sort of like not about cleaning, but when it's sort of things you enjoy, right?
Yes.
You actually, yeah, when it comes to like things you do, you like you want to work on this puzzle and you work on this one and you want to do this and you want to do this. It's the same actual energy. And how is it the same energy? Well, think about it.
It's the reward that you get out of it. I'm not getting a
Yeah,
reward out of cleaning because I don't care that much if things are clean
exactly.
and
So what is your third option? You both have this energy of this Virgo thing. What can he do on his end? What can you do on his end? Not necessarily about cleaning, but with that energy.
I don't know.
It's okay. If you talk it out, maybe you'll come up with a third option, right? So you want it to be a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Partnerships are work as well. It's work. So it's not just like, I'm going to go into it, because usually as humans, we're taught that way. It's like, it's lovey-dovey. It's the past at least 2000 years. We were taught that, or we were, we grew up
Well,
thinking,
so
yeah, it's okay.
does it tell you on there like my marriage life or
Your
no?
marriage life?
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, your marriage life is sometimes unpredictable, but mostly it requires a certain, it's almost like he feels like on his end, he cannot provide he cannot be the individual in the marriage. He feels like he cannot be himself, right? I'm seeing here is Uranus is retrograde. It's actually at 27 degrees. It's like the last degrees of Scorpio. So he feels powerless when it comes to the marriage. He feels powerless. That's why he's kind of lashes out. So
Yes.
yes, and you probably also
Because he
feel
thinks
powerless. Mhm.
he thinks it's always right all the time. I have to be right all the time, and it's always my way.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Cancer likes gentle. Cancer wants gentle. Leo is gentle too, but Leo is more about child gentle. Like I just want to inspire. I just want to do. So you sometimes you have to take that time apart, but also come to that, talk about it and says, what can we list that is, and make it sort of ever flowing as well. You're both fire and air, so you both flow, but one is cold, one is hot, and that's fine. So you work with that. So you don't always need to like butt heads and say, oh, let's create steam. It can be hot, but that's why you have children. But that's about it. But when it comes to your individuality, that's still important in the marriage,
right.
right? So I don't know. Yeah.
So you don't.
So
So you don't
good.
look at this at all in general and say like, oh, she's screwed in this aspect, or do you know
I
what I
wouldn't go
mean?
in that. I don't want to go in that direction.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Is there something? I don't know. I'm just more curious about
Oh, okay. Let's see what else you have in your seventh house.
what what you think is, and just in general, what you find interesting. I guess.
I would say, okay, I think what you guys are going through right now for you specifically is that his you need to work together so that you actually help each other out. So the lessons
Mm,
in this is acceptance of teaching. I'm going to read through my cheat sheet here. Role modeling. So he kind of becomes your mentor and you become his mentor. For
okay.
you, he becomes your mentor when it comes to um mm, taking it slow. He has a second house. He wants to be a mentor when it comes to self-worth. He wants to show you how he wants to expand and grow, but taking it slowly and gently, very gently, full of love, full of like sort of very soft, like a baby. Not that you need to baby him, okay? It's more like it's the approach, okay? That's the approach that he
Yeah.
needs. So, um, because he already has issues with, he's powerless when it comes to being loyal. So he feels like he can't be loyal to a certain degree because he doesn't know how to go about his powerlessness. He had issues with relationships in the past. So it's like, I don't feel like I can contribute to this. How is this even? So there's a part of him that feels it's unfair. He kind of is projecting that onto you
Thank you.
subconsciously.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so it's almost like he's meant to be there for you in that regard. He's meant to show you that his powerlessness doesn't mean that you are powerless. It means that he needs to find it again by allowing him to find it in himself by kind of just being there supporting you. You don't need to be a teacher. You don't need to be a mother. You don't need to be the Stepford wife. You don't need to be any of that stuff. You just need to just be present. Allow him to be that and find his own power slowly. It's going to take time, and that's what I'm getting here. Okay. Um, what else am I getting here? Um, so what else? There's other things that for you when it comes to, because what you look for is you look for a lot of your sense of like people who will be the acceptable partner that is also um who will accept you, kind of like a role model. A relationship is still a role model. Someone you're with, they're still a role model for you, right? It's all about humility. And how that goes about for you is like a lot of love, a lot of love, a lot of that. I want to connect, I want to talk, I want to relate, I want to connect, I want to talk. He can't always provide that, and that's fine.
Mm-mm.
And I see a lot here, right here. You got so many in your sixth house, which also means that's something about health, which we'll talk about later. Um,
It's something about
so a
what? Oh,
lot of,
health.
yeah, a lot of stuff here. Like you want it to be erotic. You want it to be very committed. You want it to be fun-loving and childlike, that's for sure. You want it to almost be like it's almost like you're lesbian in the relationship. Not to be lesbian. I'm not saying, I'm saying you want it to be like he'd be on par. You want it to be on par. You want it to be absolutely loyal, but you also want him to give you some sort of room for your sense of freedom. Um, but there's a part of you that questions, let me double check here. Let me finish what I'm about to say there. 1 second. Because you have Adonis retrograde here. Sorry, it's
No,
a
you're
little
fine.
slow. Technology today. Um, so we're going to go back to Adonis for a second there. Um, you want there also to be someone who actually not to be of service to you, but to kind of be kind of like your cupbearer, someone who will be there to support you.
Yes.
So not to say that he needs to be your boy toy, but there's a certain degree to that, because Leo is like that. You want to be in charge, large and in charge. That's Leo. So when others are behind you, you don't want him to be behind you per se, but you want him to kind of be like, I just need your support, right?
Hmm.
I just need undying, your undying fealty. But actually he does
Hmm.
try to show it. He just questions it. It's not that he's not there. I don't think so, because I mean, from what I've seen so far, he's not doing that. So, let's see what else we have here. It's a little slow, so something's going on here. 1 second. Let me close. some of the apps. Okay, let me hold on 1 second here. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second and then we'll try it again and see what happens. Okay, it's doing that. Okay, here you go. Oh, it's doing that thing because I'm on Mac. You know that thing that thing. There's
I
that
hate
rainbow
Macs.
circle.
I
Well,
hate Macs.
PC is worse. It gets slow on me. My
No,
experience. Mac doesn't really do this. This is once in a while.
I just don't know how to use Macs. You gave
Oh,
me an iPhone, I have no idea how to use it.
oh, it's okay. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so oh, let's see if we got Adonis here. Okay. Okay. Questioning of mastery of humility, possibly. Yeah, that's part of that.
Of what?
Um, Mastery of humility. Not to say that you're not humble. I'm just saying that it's part of the process of being, because it's in your sixth house. Usually the sixth house is tied to servants, people you work with, your everyday job, routines, your general health. Not general health, like actual health, like physical health. But Adonis here represents for you because this is about your relationship. It's really about kind of sort of like you don't know whether you should choose him or yourself or both, or there's there might have been, of course, like you had to learn through that what do you call this unbridled passion I put in here, emotional expression and depth. But what happens is that um he's technically really opposite of you. So it feels like how do you master yourself around him? So, but you question that, and you're very discerning about your love and your relationship with him. So, but that retrograde doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means it's good and bad are labels, right? So what it means is it's a
Right,
challenge. It's for you to learn, right? So
right.
you'll continuously learn how do you be yourself? How does he be himself? And how do you work together with that?
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, he actually also triggers that in your sixth house. He also questions himself, particularly when it comes to, because when he was a child growing up, he
Hmm.
couldn't relate. He was probably like, I would siblings or sibling figures, like, the brothers or just the other people.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Yeah. He was kind of, he was probably abused as a sibling, or like there's abuse there. So he has a hard time trying to find himself in relationships, right? Particularly like he doesn't know how to work with that skill yet, probably. He's trying to figure it out, right? Because Persephone is about rape as well, but it's abuse. It's about loss of oneself and identity, but it's also like the bad boy kind of thing. So he probably was a bad student when he was a child, like in elementary school. Um, he didn't know how to relate with people. There was a lot of let's see here. Okay. His third house cusp is in Libra. So he didn't know how to relate with classmates, students, teachers. So a lot of his freedom was kind of like he didn't know how to he didn't know how to set boundaries because he didn't know yet because he was a kid, right? So, but then it was like
Right.
um he actually comes from a very like power struggling like environment. Like his home right here is in Scorpio. So that
Yeah.
means that yeah, he comes from that abusive. There's might have been abuse, but I'm not going to assume. That's why I say might. So okay, so yeah. So this is part of the reason why I'm looking at sixth house is because this is your how he this is part of your sense of like what you sometimes maybe need to let go. What can you control? Maybe you don't need to have control at all because you know that's a Leo thing. It's hard. It's Leo is like you want control, you want to manage,
Yeah.
but there are some things you just can't. And cancers don't want that. Cancers cannot, they don't want that. Okay. He actually, what does it say here? Sun, Moon, Cleopatra, Bacchus. What is this? Cleopatra, Moon, oh, Cupid is right here. Oh, yes. He wants, he actually, is he, is he kind of, sometimes does he make you feel like when you met him, did it feel like he, um, could connect, like, how do you call this? Was it flirtatious when you guys were talking? When you would talk?
Yeah.
A lot of flirtatious? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because Cupid is about flirtation and what is it? It's like Eros, but I haven't finished the research on Cupid. It's slightly different from Eros, but because it's similar, it's that feeling of like I need to, mm, just not only play around, be more childlike, but kind of figure out what that love is in terms of like sexual expression, like physically sexual, on a physical level rather.
Oh,
So, okay.
okay.
Let me
She's
stop sharing for
Louise.
a second here.
Africa.
Yeah. Okay, so
Sorry, I'm yelling at
sorry.
my dog.
Sorry. Are we still okay? You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. No, no, no. I mean like because I wasn't sure. Just making sure. Sorry, the it's doing that thing again. That's
Of
probably
course it
because
is.
there's several things open. Let me close Facebook first. That'll probably make it easier.
My dog's freaking out.
Why is that?
I don't know. We have a windstorm right now. It's like that's why I keep moving. I'm scared I'm gonna have a tree fall on me.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So I wanted to add more. So you did have questions about your marriage itself, right? So the reason I did mention the sixth house here is because for you, it's a lesson that you also have to learn. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually close this for a second. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to close those files. I'm going to look at his, okay?
Yeah.
Because it's part of the process. It's part of and then we're going to look at what's called like a midpoint, how you kind of come together. Um, let's see here. Okay. Okay. Can already see. So I think you're definitely already past the romantic phase. So what you're doing is with your marriage, you're kind of between the sixth house and seventh house energies, which is to learn how to work together, but you're learning from each other still. That's still a sixth house thing. That's when you can
Mhm.
jump into your how you progress as a couple into your seventh house energies. Um, so it's for him, his sixth house, he has to learn, he's learning about the way he's learning about things through you, particularly you, is it changes. He has to be okay with the changes that come to in his life. But for Cancer, that's like
Right.
changes?
Yeah, they
What
don't like change.
changes? What? Because that's
Yeah.
ironic. It's ironic because he has Sun Moon conjunction, even though it's in Cancer, it's in the 11th house. He is also Aquarius. You see the energy as
What?
well there? He's also Aquarius. He has an Aquarian energy to him. You actually, this is what's funny. He has an Aquarian energy to him. You have a Cancer energy to you as well. So you
Hmm.
you value security. You when I say value, I don't just
Yes.
yes, it's important to you. So for him, he values a certain type of security, but again, we talked about it, being able to, you know, welcome change. But he's still learning that through you, as if it's almost like, okay, he's okay with change. But let's take a look at where his Saturn and Uranus are. His Saturn is in Libra, Uranus is in Scorpio. Okay, I can see it right there. He, the change that he goes through aren't isn't the change when it comes to learning about, what he needs to be okay with before he really matures in the marriage is that he needs to understand that sometimes he also cannot control
Yes. Thank you.
things.
Sorry.
Yes. So both of you have the same thing. Okay. You see,
Ah, we're
you have more
butting
in
heads
common than
because of it.
exactly. But so exactly. So for you, it was about what is it? You want it to be perfect. You want it to be, you have your, what is it that you had your, let me double check here. Oh, wait, second, wrong chart. Oh, okay. So you both have like, so you actually both get technical,
Hmm.
like with the, with how you're learning with each other, but sometimes being technical, what does that do? It's very left brain, right?
Yeah.
So you both need to honor your right brains more,
Yes.
right?
Look
So
at other
be more
perspectives and
exactly, and be in the present moment. You don't need to always say something, you know, like do you understand? Like it's yeah, you both have this perfectionist streak about you, just like and it kills,
hmm
can kill, not literally, but you
hmm
know what I'm saying, right? So
hmm
um let's see what else he's got here. Okay. He's learning that you kind of like he's not sure whether he should be chased or not, or whether he should be the chaser or not, to take the initiative to, find the reward in that pursuit. Because it's in retrograde. Daphne is about chases and pursuits. Um, so he questions his independence. Again, like we talked about earlier, he does question his independence. Like, "Oh, I don't know if I have this." So he has to learn that. But if he's getting that from you, he's kind of questioning that. Is he? Because you yourself have your psyche retrograde here. You don't know whether you can give that unconditional love to him, right? It was
yeah,
in
not
your,
at this. Yeah,
yeah, especially because it was part of your reputation, growing up in careers. You don't know whether you could commit to something and be all out for it with really from your heart when you come from your career, your midheaven is in Capricorn, so everything had to be very like grounded, everything had to be like matter of fact, but there's a part of your reputation, there's a part of your career path and the public, how you deal with the public, that kind of affected you, where it's like it has to be it has to change as well.
I
So
agree.
sometimes, so there's a dichotomy there. There's the shadow, right? It's just like, okay, I want change, but I don't want change.
Hmm.
So what does that say? And so, um, he actually brings forward like he wants to proceed with his life is pulling him towards a direction of um change, towards a direction of being of service to humanity. Oh no, no, you have that, sorry. And so what happens is for him, it's you become his like that sort of that guide, that kind of like role model, like, you help him welcome change, but he's uncertain of how he's going to pursue that.
Right.
What else is
Jeez Louise.
there? Yeah. So mind you, I'm only using several few houses here. I'm not doing everything, but it's still quite a lot. I know. Um, hmm. So you sometimes question your sense of you being able to control your destiny. Like you have Moira here. Moira are the fates.
Hmm.
It's in
Hmm.
retrograde, but it's in Aquarius. So you have this, you come from this, you question where your money's coming from, where it's going to go, what direction it's going to head towards. Like it's because like you don't want it to change, but then you're not sure how to handle that.
Hmm.
That in turn becomes his um part of his lesson because that also kind of triggers him and be like, okay, well, I don't know then how to work. So work is kind of part of this as well, because this is the sixth house. So anything that you do, when I say work, I don't necessarily mean like job work. I mean that whole cleaning stuff. That's also work, house chores, right? So this falls into the
Hmm.
sixth house as well, right? So you're not sure where that because of your, uncertainty or, questioning of where security is, because money, income is a sign, it's a symbol of freedom. So but
Hmm.
for you, your freedom, sense of freedom is 11th house is where your money comes from. It constantly changes, or it does change. It can change, right? Or when it does change though, or there's a shift happening, or it's there's something that's to be better, there's something that is going to make it better. There's a questioning about it, and it kind of projects onto him. So, but he becomes that you become his mirror. So it's like, oh, because you question your ability to be, this is here, this asteroid is called Bounty. Literally is like to be, it's like, where's, everyday life, where are we going? Are we growing? Are we changing? You have like um, is this his sixth house? Your sixth house, sorry. No, no, sorry, I made a mistake. The whole questioning is he questions it. Sorry, my bad. He's questioning
Oh,
it,
okay.
sorry. There you go. That's what you're like probably wondering. He's like, so he questions where his
No.
money's going. Okay.
Yeah.
So he becomes your mirror. So when you think about, am I doing this right? Sorry. Like I said, this is my first time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, this is his chart. You're the outside. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
the
yeah. So
red.
I was right. I was right. Okay, yeah. So I was right. So yeah, so you become a mirror for him. And he, because he's already had that issue when it comes to um like work itself. Like how does he go about that?
Hmm.
Like he's probably questioning like his sense of service to others,
Hmm.
right? So, because there's a part of him that wants to do that. Let's see, sixth house is, yeah, his sixth house cusp sixth house is in Aquarius, but his south node is also in Aquarius. So, where's your south node? You have opposite south nodes,
Oh, so we're going the
different
opposite
signs.
direction.
That's probably why you're very opposite.
Or are we
One,
coming? Is South
yeah,
in the past? Like where you come from or where you're going?
the south
Sorry.
node, you mean?
Yeah, that's not where you're going, right? That's
No,
like
that's where you came from. Yeah, that's right.
that. So we have two opposite different upbringings.
Yes,
Totally
basically.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wants to shine, and he's still young at it too. It's actually 1 degree Aquarius, so that means his North Node is 1 degree Leo. That means he wants to really shine. He's still figuring it out. You, on the other hand, have it in the later degrees of Leo. You already know how to shine. Your goal is to be there for others. You're being called to be there for others. So be patient, have that patience, have that tenacity. That's one of the things. So that's how you guide him, and he guides you. He kind of brings back your childlikeness and be curious about it and be present, while you, on the other hand, teach him more maturity. I'm not saying that you have to be the mother and he has to be the son. It's kind of weird,
No,
but
yeah, I know what you're saying. I get it.
yeah, yeah. So he's still figuring it out, right? So, oh,
Lovely.
um,
It's very insightful.
thank you. Um,
No, like really.
Thanks.
I mean, I don't really
Um,
know what I'm looking at, but it makes total sense.
yeah. Well, like the names kind of help a little bit because if you look at some of the names, like banks, for example, is how much you invest in, right? Bounties. Those are very straightforward. Those asteroids, I don't have any research on them. I kind of just use them intuitively. I don't have any information on them because there really isn't. And
Yeah, that's fine.
it's kind of like they're asteroids named after a concept, and that's it. So there's nothing to
Right.
go by. I'm like, okay. So anyways, um, the other thing that he's learning about his sense of like what he needs to be accepting of, his sense of humility, um, is yes, his past life. So that he wants to be different, but at the same time, at what
He doesn't
expense,
know how. Oh,
right?
okay.
He wants to be different. He wants to shine. He wants to be unique. Um, but you have Amalthea in Aquarius here. It's actually conjunct right into his. It's called an interaspect in Synastry. It's actually affecting his south node. So what happens is he learns from you as well when it comes to slowing down. Maybe you're teaching him how to be practically abundant because Amalthea is absolute abundance. It's believing in that whole like, but because it's in retrograde, you're questioning of it or just kind of like sort of like, am I eternal? Am I this? Am I abundant? So, so it kind of rubs off on him. Um, let's see what we have here on Amalthea. She was technically like a goat, but we don't know based on mythology. Was she a goat? Was she like a nurse? But she was like a nurse to, she was a nurse to Zeus. So in a way, your ability, your sort of your questioning of your ability to help others in the world kind of gets triggered in his South Node because it's like are you supporting his individuality? And so it's kind of like, but at the same time, because you question it in your experience, it's in your midheaven, it's in your 10th house actually. Um, you've had this questioning of your career path, like where am I going? Where am I headed?
Mm-hmm.
Your vocation. So that kind of, in a way, subconsciously projects onto him, becomes his lesson
Mm-hmm.
where he's learning about maybe I need to take this slowly, or rather take it in a different direction. So, um, what did I see here? I'm not seeing Amalthea. Again, it's doing that slowing thing. It's taking time.
Don't worry
Um,
about it.
yeah. So it's actually abundance through practical means. Amalthea also represents the sign of Capricorn. It's funny because it is right there in Capricorn too. It's in Aquarius, but it's in the 10th house. But Capricorn rules your 10th house. So what that means is, again, you tend to want stability, you want security with careers.
Yeah.
But there's the
Yeah.
Aquarius aspect of the 10th house. You see that? You have two Aquarius here. It's part of your 10th house as well. So it means that some part of you needs to be okay with the changes, then go back to
Mm-hmm.
stability. Changes, go back to stability. Change. So you have to have both. Um, let's see here. What did I see about? Oh, okay. So for him, okay. So again, it goes back to the whole um, sixth house thing. So his path. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's go to Amalthea. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. This is what happens when I say a lot, and sometimes I go, "Where am I going?" It happens. It's okay. Okay. So Amalthea is this part of us that questions whether is it glass half empty or glass half full.
Yes.
So we have to
Yes.
learn how to adapt. That's what she is about,
Yes.
right? She's
Mm-hmm.
the horn of plenty. She's about nectars, that stuff. Um, so yeah, So it is about adaptation, but and it's in retrograde. So yeah, so whether you become like this mother-like figure for him, it could also be that you become kind of like a twin for him. There's a potential for that to happen, or you become kind of like this equal partner. Your career path also influences his sixth house, his behavior, his everyday unconscious doings, his routines. So that in turn contributes to or has an impact on his ability to accept and adapt to what he's learning with you and through you.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
What else do we have there? Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay. He has Artemis Horus. Mm, So he tends to want also someone who's brave enough to support him as he's growing. Like he wants that security, but he wants it to also
Yeah.
be, but he's not sure about it yet. He's questions that. He wants that sort of again, you kind of like a leader for him in a way. You become this role model, like a leader. To when you lose one eye, you still work with your one eye. That's Horus,
Yeah.
right? Right. Um, so what you do for him is you become this like, oh, your North Node becomes part of that. So again, we talked about that. So you allow him to, you become this sort of like, I guess this mentor for him to find that that sort of sense of power in himself. That how to say, yeah, the inner wild in himself with being creative,
Yeah.
being kind of crazy. But again, because he questions that, it's almost like you're bringing that out. Um, there is a part of you, your Metis here is retrograde. Um, Metis is, oh no, it's doing that again. Metis is the advisor, something like that. Second here. Let me close the other. Oh, that's why it wants to quit. But okay, let me stop it for a second here. Are you okay? You want to?
Yeah, I'm fine. My daughter just came up and she's just loud.
Okay.
She's
Okay. Let's see. Actually, maybe I don't even need to open up those files. I can just open up the other ones and then
say hi to Jose.
hi, hi.
He says hi.
She's adorable. Um, you know what? Yeah, I need to open those up. It's fine.
What time is your circle tonight now? Oh, it's your time,
In 3
7?
hours. No, it's 6.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so we have time. Okay, let's go to the midpoint stuff here. I'm going to open up the midpoint charts. And what that's going to show me is how you together kind of behave as one. Okay. So let's see
Can
what
you
we
see
get
me,
there.
FYI, right now? Like, can you see me when I'm like nodding
Yeah, I can see you,
or
Bonnie.
no? Okay, I
Yeah, I
just
can
want to
see you.
make sure because, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna close that one. I'm gonna close. This is what happens when you have so many things open. Okay, I'm gonna close that one too. Okay, and then minimize that one. Goodness sake. Okay.
This thing reminds me of those circles you used to make with nails and take like yarn and connect each nail to the yarn with the yarn. And you know what I'm talking about? No, probably not.
It sounds familiar.
Don't worry.
What classes were these?
Art. It's just you nail a bunch of nails in a circle and take yarn of different color and weave them around different nails to make
Yeah, yeah,
lines. You know what
yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never actually took a class, but I was told how to use it and I forgot. I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like you're, I know what you mean. I can't believe you remember that. Oh my God.
Oh my God,
I
yeah.
didn't remember it. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry, was that? I don't mean to. I'm not implying that.
No, 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 you're
I don't know.
fine.
I'm saying that it's like I forgot about that. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. You took a class for that? I didn't. I don't remember ever taking a
No, I
class
mean
for that.
it was just art class.
Like elementary school art class?
Yeah.
How come I don't remember? I remember those. I don't remember learning directly like through class. Did we learn about it? I don't remember.
Um,
Anyways, never mind. I'm being curious about it and random and redonkulous. Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay.
remember you're on
Sorry.
camera. You're on recording.
Yeah, I know, and I don't care.
Even better.
Okay, let's take a look at this one. Um, okay, so let's see. So together, oh, you're very loyal to each other. But sometimes what happens is that there can be challenges to like how you portray yourself as a couple to society. And you
Okay.
kind of, yeah, you kind of question that and you're just like, it's like you want to loyal to each other. You're very flexible. You're very peace loving. You want a harmonious relationship. Um, but again, because sometimes you want to portray yourself as stable to the world. So I would say the third option to that is you can be stable to yourselves instead, rather than to other people,
Yes,
right?
I can see that.
Yes. Yeah. Because you come from this background of like both your upbringings were like very hard and harsh and insensitive and kind of cruel and
Yes.
controlling and all that stuff. So you want there you want instead to be like, well, we want to be sensitive to each other. We want to show others we're also sensitive, that we're flexible as well, but also focused on keeping it stable. So address the fact that there are people out there who will judge, who will criticize, who will um, kind of control the marriage as well, as if it's their marriage, which is not, you know?
Yes. 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 Yes.
So it's like, but instead of saying like, fuck you, and I know this is being recorded, I don't give a shit about that anymore because I swear in my videos too, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so it's okay, but instead of saying fuck you to people, I would say like, you do your own thing and you want to control your marriage the way you do, but we have to learn it our way. It's like a child, it's like a newborn child. Your marriage is a newborn child, or in this case, it's like an 8-year-old. You're still learning through it, or maybe 14. I don't know. Either way, you're still learning through it. You're going through the song "Going Through the Motions" from Buffy. I don't know if you've ever seen Buffy. They had a musical episode
No.
once. Never mind. Um, Sorry, never mind. I'm being random. So yeah, so it's that, right? So you have this 5 degrees. Let me see, 44 minutes. Okay, I would say it's part of it. You tend to regenerate as a couple, like you tend to take breaks from each other a lot. Did that resonate? Feel like there is.
In the household, yeah, maybe, but not
Okay,
outside of, if that makes
okay,
sense.
okay. So you need to find your own inner like egg. Haumea is the Hawaiian goddess of fertility. She's also about regeneration. So there's a part of your regenerative um things. I don't know what to call it, like functions for your marriage. What I mean by that is like you sometimes you need to start over, have a reset,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. I can
Yeah.
take that.
But you are very loyal to each other.
Yes. Yes,
There's no question
100%.
about that.
Yeah,
Okay. But
that's true.
you need to find the balance between the two of you. But again, it's not about compromise. I might This is just unsolicited advice, but again, third option. Find a third option, right? Actually,
Yeah, I'll be working on that.
I would recommend both of you doing shadow work because
Okay,
this
how
is
do you
an
do
important
that?
part of your marriage as well. It
How do
stems
you do
back
that
to your
though?
childhood.
Yeah, I
Um,
want to do it. I don't know how. He
look up
won't,
Teal
but
Swan stuff. Teal Swan.
okay, okay.
She
And
does a wonderful job about marriages, and if you look up her videos, if it resonates with you too, like give it a try. Or
no, for
you
sure.
can or you can look up you know what? I'll send it. Oh, I'll write it down here. It's called The Dark Side of Light Chasers. But it's a great book.
Oh,
But if you
I've
don't,
seen that. I think
oh,
I've
okay.
seen that on I haven't read it obviously, but
It's
someone
by
else mentioned it to me something. I don't know.
mm, it's by Debbie Ford.
Okay.
Yeah, she's how I got into shadow work.
Is that does it include a journal like or
You
exercises or
Yeah,
something?
you have exercises there. Yeah.
I think I downloaded that and I think I downloaded the audiobook
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it had like a bunch of exercises to do and I just was like I don't have the time to do this right now. But it was like devote time to yourself to do this.
Or
Yeah.
if you want,
I remember that.
hmm, or if you want, you can go to Teal Swan stuff because hers I find is more subconscious, is deeper.
Okay.
Um, you can go to her stuff and then look up the book called, you don't have to get the book itself, but if you can find someone to do what's that one? The completion process.
I'm writing this down, sorry.
I'm just going to text it to you just in case. Just in case.
Okay, perfect.
Um, yeah. So, um, yeah, where someone actually helps you with an emotion and go into the childhood memory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like I need that.
And if you want to, because it's part of your marriage, it's connected to your marriage, which is always is. We all go through inner child stuff. And that's it. That's the starting point of what we want in a marriage. It's what we expect in a marriage before we even get into a
Right,
marriage, any
right.
relationship, right? Because if you have your marriage, your relationships, your adaptation to each other, your connection, loyalty to each other, and finally your surrender to each other. These are the five, four, five, six, seven, eight, the five houses that have to do with relationships. So I've been studying the whole week, and I'm just like wondering, oh, it's actually kind of easy. Oh, okay, I can do this. So I was like,
That
yay,
should
I'm
do
ready.
this.
So
No,
there are
this is
stuff.
honestly, this has been
Hmm,
awesome.
I hope
I'm
so. Thank
trying
you.
to copy the other one. No, it has been. Um,
Thank you. If do you use gemstones?
no,
Okay,
I mean, I'm not opposed to them.
try
I'm not
this
as,
one. Okay,
I'm not like as, oh, just did the other, just copied both ones.
that's right.
Um,
Okay. If you want to
yeah,
work with
what,
gems, sorry, what?
oh, you're there. Okay. I was like, did I just
Okay,
exit out of it by accident?
that's
If
it.
I want to work with gemstones, yes.
Yeah, you can use aragonite for inner child work.
Argonite.
That's what I use.
Oh, oh, you put it in the chat. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect. Sorry, I'm
right.
like
It's
sitting
okay.
here going back and forth because I can't take a screenshot because I'm trying to
Oh,
paste
that's okay.
Argonite.
Yeah, it's brown.
Perfect.
I'll show you what it looks like.
It's okay. My last name is Brown. Used to be Brown.
Oh, interesting. This is um this is the raw form.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty.
Yeah, and this is the sphere form.
Oh, interesting.
So it's brown, but
Spear
it's
one's pretty cool.
grounding. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I love this stone. I love it. It's
I was gonna say I like that it's a circle, so you can like hold it and rub it
yeah,
and
yeah, and you can put it on your table if you have a stand for it. and then just work with it because it's spread out. Yeah, the energy
That's
spreads out.
cool. Man,
Yeah.
I'll have to look into
So,
that.
what else? Okay, so um, you're meant to go through um internal changes within yourselves as a
Mhm.
couple. Um, you will grow through it though. You will actually experience growth through it. I feel like it is already there, but take time to
Okay.
pause all the time. Take time to pause, take time to process things, especially your wounding, especially going subconscious. Both your Chiron, it's funny how it's in Mercury. Both your wounding comes from your communication. A lot of it stems from your ability to transmit, relay information to each other, but also understand each other and learn to adapt to each other
Yeah,
and actually really
I can take that.
connect and find the common, like you find that bridge. You have your Baruna. Um, but also like part of the wounding is you're growing together to, especially at a subconscious level. If you can grow through it. You can go through and grow through your how you communicate and it will continue that bridge. Imagine a bridge trying to grow and go like this, and it will continue to grow and grow and grow until you finally connect. But you have to do it where you actually um take time to, I would say, find your individuality, but as one, like like twins. This is Gemini, so you work as kind of like twins. You're separate, but you're connected.
Oh, I said, sorry. I was on mute.
That's okay. I don't know. You're frozen, but it's okay.
I am?
Let it go. Let it
Mm,
go. Yes. Yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. It's fine. Okay. So you have to find a balance between what shifts are happening in your life and how to learn through those, adapt, and at the same time find yourselves in that relation. Find your independence in both in each other and in yourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I can take that. That's
Mm.
awesome.
Mm.
What's that little symbol right there, the V with the lightning bolt? I'm just curious what it's called.
Oh, that's Vesta. You are
Oh, okay.
actually, it's funny that not that you mentioned that. Um, you had a very passionate, like a lot of like very highly sexual power, like is like powerful connection. Like the first time you met, it was like
Yeah. Mm.
very sexual, right? Very cathartic as well. It felt like maybe there's a lot of orgasm. Sorry, I'm gonna put this in the video. I don't care.
Okay.
So I'm a Plutonian. I have a Plutonian personality. I understand this, but you also have this sort of like it becomes part of your how you're protected in your marriage. Vesta is protection. Vesta is
Oh,
Kundalini energy. Vesta is pure
ooh.
fire, inner flame.
Mm.
That's why I made that video, the meditation video about the inner flame. That's Vesta. Um, so Vesta shows not only how we're protected, but when we live through life in the flow of life and trust and surrender, that's Pluto, to the powerlessness of life, even within relationships, your relationships becomes powerful.
It's a powerful, powerful message.
And that's one of my gifts. I realized that when I do it, it's actually transmits. You can feel it. You can feel it. Can you? Because I can feel it right now. So I feel like I'm sending it to you, and it's like, yeah, yeah. You have both like a very strong sexual connection.
Hmm.
Um, so it doesn't have to be always like physically like carnal sexual, but it could be like a powerful creative sexual. That's sexual power. It's creativity. So maybe if you do something creative together, something that's very childlike, anything artistic, any form of creation, doesn't have to be children. Children don't have to be part of the creation or process, but you can also include your children with that. Your daughter, right? Daughter, how many
Oh, yeah.
daughters do you have? How many children? One daughter? Just one?
One
Okay.
biological.
Yeah. Yeah. So, right. And also learn to balance that with being able to accept the so-called flaws, be forgiving, learn forgiveness, not because you're forgiving him or he's forgiving you. Forgive yourself for saying, I, or there's this quote by Eckhart Tolle. He says, um, be in the moment, I think something like that, as if you chose it. That's Sedna. The myth of Sedna
That's
is the myth of Sedna is that she came from the myth is about her learning about the betrayal, her father cutting off her fingers because she fell off the boat because he was too scared for his life. So betrayal of the patriarchal system. So what that symbolizes here is a betrayal of, let's say, um, what feels like a disconnection or betrayal of, um, I guess, not being in a stable environment.
hmm
It's in Taurus. So if you feel like there's this um with society itself and the money you earn as a couple together, your joint income, um, maybe it's not stable, but even then, still go for it. Still go for it. Trust that it's like there's something always better, right? So balance that stubbornness and the flow of both the air and the water and the earth. So Scorpio and Taurus energy, and allow for the mistakes to happen. Because sometimes you can't control the mistakes. Mistakes are nothing else. They're nothing more than feedback. It's like, oh, I made this choice, and it's okay, that's the result, right? So it comes back
yeah,
down
no,
to it all comes
that
back down
makes total
to
sense.
mhm. So it all comes back down to being present, right? Because it does kind of affect you guys, both of you as a couple, your self-worth. You feel like your self-worth is affected by this financial stuff. And what happens is that it becomes part of this, like, how do we work as a couple, right? How do we live as a couple? How do we learn
Yes,
to be in the moment?
yes,
How do we find power as a couple, right? Your south node, which technically past lives, but your past lives in terms of the energy is not your past lives together, but it could be, is that it was always powerful. In past lives, you always had this sort of like sexual attraction to each other.
yeah.
Somehow it happens past lives. It's also kind of, I would say, where's your Pluto? Is it Pluto? Is it okay? I would say you've been together for a long time, like as in different past lives.
I've
So
been told that before, actually.
okay. Wonderful. All right. So I'm just also intuiting what I'm getting to. So I love that I'm also doing that. I'm allowing for it too, because I'm like, okay, there's something about this. It feels like, okay, been together for a long time. So that's good. So
Yeah.
so I don't know if he's your twin flame
Mm.
because it's not in the, let's take a look at your seventh house. If he's your twin flame, remember twin flame is not supposed to be like all lovey-dovey. They teach you, you teach them. Okay. You're very much you have a very sexual connection. We already went through that, but let's see here. 17 degrees. Be careful of the dark side of your relationship because you want commitment to each other, but to it you can't push that to
Yeah.
the point where it's like you can't.
Right.
It's a choice.
Right.
Yeah, right? Because there might be envy and jealousy and
hmm
resentment towards each other.
hmm
Mhm. Um, let's see. And look into what else we have. Oh, part of your love language is um you inspire each other. like how you talk to each other. There's a bit of that inspiration that comes through when it's very philosophical. It gets to the point where it becomes philosophical, very high up there. You both know something that the other person doesn't, and the other person knows something that the other person doesn't. It's almost like you're each other's philosophers kind of thing, like you're
Yeah.
very spiritual side to it as well, but it can be dogmatic. So watch out for that. Um, because otherwise you lose yourself in the process. Yeah,
Hmm.
Proserpina here. Um, you don't want to abandon your principles just because you're in a relationship, but you also don't want to just defend your principles just because you're individuals.
Right.
And so you have Dejanira in your sixth house, so you're still also learning, possibly still learning. One of the lessons is to um, be there for each other unconditionally, even though you question it. Just go for it. Just go for it. Um,
I'm going
and
for it.
Yeah, and sometimes you might get questioned by also groups of people who'd be like, or like what you feel subconsciously, where it's like you question each other's loyalty. Fine, question it, but is it true? Right? So
Right.
you have to go ground yourself as well, and just that's what being in the present moment is, right? What else?
Yeah,
If
this
you
is
need to
like
go,
a
sorry.
sign off work. I gotta sign off work.
Oh, you
It's
actually don't have to go
5:40.
back to.
No, what I have to go back and like log out and send an email, but
Okay, let me just finish this off. Um, Just doing that again. No, don't tell that. Doing it again. Oh wait, no, 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 it didn't. Okay, it was quick. Okay, here you go. You have Egeria also in your sixth house. So you can, it's almost like you are actually each other's like kind of like you learn from each other literally like um but sometimes you wonder whether who's the child and who's the parent. Sometimes it's almost like
oh God, yes, yes, yes. Well, no, I yes,
so
I could take
but
that.
sometimes what if it's both, right? So we have Egeria here. She's about water as well. So counterparts. Okay. Um, so she's also about mountain climbing. So symbolically, that also means like that's okay. You work through it, but you take it one step at a
Right,
time. You learn through the process of um whether you are emotionally disconnected or emotionally disconnected, you're you have to learn through that. You have to allow for the process to happen. It's okay. You might have secrets sometimes, but maybe secrets are a good thing. Why do we
right,
worry about secrets? Why does he worry about secrets? Why do you worry about secrets? Why do you reveal so much but he doesn't? What is that about? But like you have to ask yourself always the questions of why. One of the things I learned about with Teal Swan is ask yourself questions like, what's so bad about this? And keep asking the question, what's so bad about him being this? What's so bad about you being this? What's so bad about, keep asking until you get to the real core of it. And you're like, oh, so there really there's nothing wrong. You'll get to the point when you
right,
keep asking.
exactly.
Exactly.
You just yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Attri- Attriples. Okay. You, mm, you do have control over what you believe and the love that you have for each other. You do have control over those kind of beliefs that you have. It says here Atropos. You can choose to, I think she's the Fates, the one that cuts the cord. So I believe it's something about cutting, like, we mean like choosing where your path leads to. Let me double check with Atropos here. Sorry. Or I can go back to that. Oh, okay, it's frozen. Yeah. That's not frozen, it's doing that thing. But I believe it's something to do with that. Okay, so let me
Okay.
close that. Okay. And let me open that again. Oh, it's still doing its circly thing.
Yeah, it doesn't like me.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
You're supposed to
Mm.
say it like sure.
What is it? What am I supposed to say? What?
Nothing, nothing.
Oh, sorry. Was I supposed?
I
Sometimes
said it
I'm
doesn't
like,
like me, and you said it's okay. It's okay. I said you're supposed to say it does like me.
yeah, it's okay. Sometimes I'm clueless. It also comes from my background where I sometimes question my ability to speak English.
You speak very well.
Well, I don't know.
No, you do. You do.
But it's like, well, I don't know. Thank you. But it's I don't know. I just come from that background. It's a long story. It's okay. Okay, let's see if it's still doing its circly thing. Okay. So what if I close that instead and then reopen it? Okay, so it did quit. See, that's why it's doing that. It was quitting and then couldn't quit. Okay, let's see here.
Oh God, do you hear that toy?
No. Did I hear what?
There's a toy that's making noise down here,
Oh, did it
like a
just
kid's toy.
did it just go off on its own?
Yeah, yeah,
Freaky.
yeah.
Uh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. So you do also learn from each other by kind of like mimicking each other, or rather, let's see here. Oh, it's in retrograde. So it's almost like it's the opposite. You kind of want to, yeah, you question your individuality, but in the marriage, and you're still learning from that. But at the same time, because it's like, should you learn from each other kind of thing? Because you're both independent
Right.
individuals. So, and you want your own space, right? You both have that Cancer energy in you, right? So,
Yes.
yeah. And because of the thing with Leo and Aquarius, remember I told you that his sun, his moon is in the 11th house, so he's Aquarius energy. Your Leo is in the 12th, fourth house, which is Cancer, but he's Cancer. And Leo and Aquarius are opposite energies. So you both want to be actual individuals. You want to be unique in your own way. So it's quite and yeah, it's understandable why you question that in a relationship. But it means that you continue to work on it. Yeah, I see it right here. Right. The moment I said continue to work on it, we have here your both Echo here, Uranus. I say Echo first. Is it Echo almost? Trine. Oh, it's not trine Sisyphus. You have Neptune trine Sisyphus. Ignore this other asteroid here. But Neptune trine Sisyphus means that yeah, well, you work at your communication. We already got the point there. But sometimes you question the reality of what you say to each other. Your question is like, maybe, I don't know if you've ever questioned each other's integrity behind it. It's not really about integrity here. It's more about whether what the person is saying is grounded in truth or not.
Yes.
Mhm. Um, yeah, your sense of individuality with each other you're learning from is tied to how you communicate and express your own sense of self-worth to each other, but it's quite chaotic.
Yes.
It can be quite energy draining as well. So that's why I said, take time from each other, take time off from each other sometimes. You don't always need to be, there's actually, I'm not suggesting this at all, okay? Just, I'm not saying this is
Okay.
but I've heard literally, some couples have decided to live in separate houses but they're neighbors, but they're
Yes, I
couples.
can't afford that.
Okay, that's fine.
But
No, no, no. I'm just
yes,
saying I'm not saying you do. Okay. I'm not saying you do that, I mean. That's what I'm saying. So, what else is here? So yeah, the gist of it is that you work through a lot and there's a lot of things you still need to work on. Like your love for each other is kind of in a way kind of like it makes you weak with each other, like kind of like weak in the knees, but that's okay. Um, and what else do we have? So, because it's almost like I'm not trying to point fingers or anything, but I do see narcissists in the seventh house here. So that means that you
for me
both
or
deal
him,
with both of you. This is a midpoint
lovely.
chart. So that means that
Okay. Oh,
you both
lovely.
work with each, yeah. So there's a gift behind narcissism, which is what do you think?
I don't know.
What does the energy of
Uh,
narcissism feel like? What do you feel it feels like?
the opposite of empathy.
But is it
I don't know.
necessarily opposite? Feel it.
Um, prideful? I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so prideful, that's fine. That's fine. You're prideful, but what is pride? Where does that come from?
Uh,
What does it feel like when you say pride?
Leo? I don't know. Why are you confusing me?
But isn't it, but what I'm saying is, isn't it, doesn't it feel like it's confidence?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. For sure.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't understanding where you were getting there.
Sorry. I yeah. So I said when I say feel it, I mean literally go with the feeling, not the thought. Go with the feeling,
Right.
right? So that's that. There's a lot of narcissism when it comes to expressing your sense of individuality. Right there, right away, we said you see right away in your first house. For both of you, you both embody a lot of um me time. Like you want your own sense of
Hmm.
security, bonding, you know, your sexuality, your expression, way you communicate, your egos, your emotions, all of it tied together in a freaking like stellium, powerful stellium in Cancer, opposite of Narcissus, actually Narcissus and Nemesis. You know, Nemesis, the word nemesis, is enemy, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that. It's projection. Both of these asteroids represent projection. So you project to each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, I can take that.
Yeah, yeah. So I keep looking at your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth houses. Let me see if I can find something else. The eighth house. Hmm, what is Lempo? Uh, hold on, let me double check here. Uh, I'm gonna go through the myth here because I haven't. Oh, did I finish the research on Lempo? Hold on, let me double check. Oh, it's gonna slow down again if I do that. You know what? I'm gonna. Okay. Okay. It's both reflecting. It's reflection of both the joys and troubles that come with love. Mm, okay, so we're associated with the underworld, but over time his characters will. If he's associated with the underworld, this is why I said it's good to have um, shadow work for both of you because you go deeper into your relationships by going deeper into yourselves.
Right.
Yeah. Salacia is like Amphitrite. She was very very gentle, committed, but at the same time, she kind of wanted her own freedom. Um, so by going to your inner child stuff and the shadow work for both of you, I'm going to end with that one because I feel like I've said enough already. So it's good, but you get the
You
point,
have said a
right?
lot. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I know, but
do.
I could say some more. We could definitely go through it next time again and what like little details, like what did I miss? Because the way I do things from my chart, like I say, on an individual basis, like when I go through my chart, I look at first of all, like what am I experiencing today? And I go pinpoint what that is. How does it feel? What is that? And then I would, if you want to do that, you can write it down, send it to me. It's like, what is that I'm feeling? Or as a couple, you can do the same thing. What is it you're going through right now? Now we can go to that. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because that's the way we can figure out like the little details. That's how you do reading for your own chart. And not because you're
Hmm.
reading a chart, but because you're trying to learn of yourself through the changes, not only in the chart that your birth chart, but like the transit, how you progress. Because if I
Right.
were to look, because I looked up your solar arc recently, and your solar arc is, let's see here. Let me close this other chart here. I'm going to show it to you. It shows like what's happening today, not necessarily outside of yourself. I don't know how to describe it. It's a let me double check here. Did it open? Yeah, it did. Okay. Okay, let's see here. This is just for you, okay? So let's
Okay.
go to your seventh house. So your vertex is right now in your seventh house. It's not a transit, so that means it's something that you're meant to have is happening. Something that you're not meant to have, something that you tend to magnetize, something that you tend to attract in yourself is there. Um, it's something about, I don't know if you're experiencing it now itself, like you are going through a lot of like inner like changes, like especially with your marriage, because this is the seventh house, like you're questioning it, kind of like what we're doing already right now. This is part of this right now.
Yes.
Okay. What else do I see here? You have a child coming up? Are you? Sorry. Is there a child coming to your some kind of child? I don't know.
I mean, I was.
Oh, hmm, okay. I feel like this one's showing me like a kind of let's see. I'm giving this a test, by the way, because I don't really read solar arc charts that often, but it can signify something not necessarily outside of yourself, but this sort of feeling that it's connected to you directly, like your own. It's almost like you're manifesting it, sort of, not really. Um,
Yeah. No, I can take that.
did you have a close friend that that you met again, like a really close friend, like your best friend or an
That I met
ex-lover?
again?
An ex-lover come by? Was there someone?
No.
Okay, never mind. Um, some sort of healing with Isis, something about putting together a relationship, which is okay, that's good. It's happening now. Do you feel a more sense of a sexual connection again with your husband? A little bit?
Maybe. Well,
Let's see here. It's 20, what is this? 23 degrees. Oh, okay. Really? You never felt like because it's trine lust here, right here. Or maybe it's not trine. Oh no, it's trine Anteros. Okay. So there's a maturity in okay, there's a maturity about your relationship, your marriage. Do you feel that it's kind of feeling a little bit to some degree, at least sexually? Is it sexually mature now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So you still probably fighting about money.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, and also fighting about money, but also like careers, right?
No, just cleaning.
Or just okay. Maybe not necessarily careers, but like where it's headed. Okay, maybe. Okay. What else is there? Yeah, there's a sort of like recharging, a sort of like reassembling, so to speak. That's Osiris. Osiris is like falling apart and putting back together um of your marriage. Let's see here, 4 degrees, Leo position. Oh, you sure you're not doing it? You're not doing the kinky? Sorry.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I feel like okay, there's something about a trine, 4 degrees, Osiris, something about hmm. A lot of it feels like it is healing sexually, like healing not only sexually, but your inspiration, how like what you want in your own yourselves, like it's there. Hmm. Okay. And almost done here. So, oh, okay. You're trying to really work through a harmonious relationship, or rather you yourself on your end. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, still fiery, like maybe emotions go high up and down in your marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Having said
But
that.
sometimes, okay, but sometimes you escape through like quick, easy fix like solutions. Like you
Mm-hmm.
maybe music. I don't know if you go through a lot of music or something like with
Yeah.
dancing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, shadow work. Yeah, you're being called to go to your shadow work. Yeah. There might be a sense of feeling of like bullying. I don't know, like there's a lack of like control, not just lack of control, but like, the power struggle sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that's why you're looking for astrology stuff. It's right here. Something about astrology or something. You're looking to the stars for this. Something about for your marriage. Okay, that's why.
That would make
Okay.
sense, I guess.
That's why you got interested. Okay. I don't know how to read the other ones here. Bennu is also resurrection. It's like Phoenix coming to. So you're going through a lot of regenerative process in your marriage, and you're actually resurrecting it, renewing it. But yeah, the shadow work is important, I feel. I think that's why I did sense that it's like shadow work is important for both of you, right? And with the
Yeah,
inner
I'm
child
definitely
stuff.
gonna look into it. The stuff that you sent me, I'm gonna look into it.
Okay. Well, that's it. I'm going to let you go because I felt like I talked too
Oh,
much so it's okay. Yeah,
2 hours.
2 hours ish. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Be
I'll
well.
message you.
Take care. You're well. Yeah, message me whenever. Um, so,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
you're most welcome.
Bye.
Bye.